Hey guys, this is Melissa coming to you from my living room, and I'm going to show you how I want you to use your pencil as a tool for measuring angles and also for measuring proportion. So you can see a view of one corner of my living space, and there's like a table and a couch and a bookshelf, and there's my cat's little chair in front of the window. So how do you measure using a pencil? So what you're going to do is hold your pencil out, and you can use any tool, pencil, pen, marker, whatever, as long as it's long and skinny. Hold it out in front of you so that it is in line with your face, so that it's not angled forward or towards you at all, but it's perfectly like flat to your face, right? So think of the pencil as sort of sitting on the face of a clock, okay? So it should point straight up and down, and hold your arm in front of you perfectly straight, right? As I'm showing you this, I want you to pick something in your space that's kind of far away from you to try it out with. So take your pencil, hold it straight up and down, perpendicular, and hold it straight out in front of you. And then you're going to line up the top, the eraser or whatever the top is of your pencil to, you're going to line up the pencil itself to one of the angles you're trying to draw. So if I'm trying to draw the angle of this table, I'm going to do it here now, but it's not going to look in the video like I'm doing it because the angle's different. But you're going to hold the pencil straight up and down on the face of the clock, and you're going to hold it in front of the object, and then you're going to rotate it as if it's the hands of a clock until it matches that angle. So according to this video camera, I'm now matching the front edge, the angle of the front edge of the table. See that? Maybe easier to see. Like that. Once you've got it lined up with with the edge that you're trying to measure the angle, then freeze your wrist and carry that angle, the pencil, down to your paper. So here's my paper, and now I'll just lay it down on the paper and draw that line. Okay, so practice that a little bit. I'll try to do the short edge now. So I'm going to do the straight up and down, right? 12 and 6 o'clock, and then hold it in front of my object, and then turn it so that my pencil lines up with that edge. Carry it down to my paper and draw that line. All right. And if I do the left edge, the angle looks like this. And then the back edge looks like this. So now these are the angles for the top surface of the table that I've sketched in really loosely on my sketchbook. All right, so practice that a lot because it's a little tricky and it's hard sometimes to keep the angle that your pencil's at, consistent until it reaches the paper. You can also think of actual angles from geometry class. So you can think of a right angle, 45-degree angle. You can hold your pencil straight up and down, just right in front of the angle you're trying to draw, and then just judge what that angle is. Is it about 90? Is it a little bit smaller? Is it a little bit larger? You can use it sort of like as a guide for you that way as well. It's another way to measure angles. I like to line it up with the angle and then carry it down to my piece of paper because it's more of a visual way. So the second way that you're going to use your pencils to measure is to measure proportion. So say I wanted to do a full drawing of this table here. I need to get the proportion of the legs accurate to the proportion of the top of the table, right? So the way to measure proportion for anything is to take a measurement of a smaller portion of it and then count how many of those smaller portions go in the longer part of it, right? So think about kind of like the general wisdom that says that a human body is about 7 human heads. So if I took this pencil, right, and put the top of it at the top of my head, let's see, I'll make my head smaller. So if I put this pencil at the top of my head, right, like this. Okay, that's not working. So anyway, if I take let's see now. It's really easy to see in my bookcase. So if you take the top of your pencil and line it up to one of the sections there, and then put your thumb on the bottom where that section is done, right? And then keep your thumb there, so that's your measurement for 1 unit. Then you can count the number of units in the total height of the object. So I've got my measurement for 1 unit, and then I'll go to the bottom, measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little more than 5. So this bookcase, and you can also count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's 2 small sections. But that's a general way that you use your pencil to measure proportion. You're comparing one measurement to another measurement. So if someone was standing far away, then their head was smaller, and I could measure the height of their head, and then count how many heads are in their total body from head to toe. It'll be between 7 and 8, right, depending on their height. So that's how you measure proportion. And most artists use these 2 techniques together, measuring angles and measuring proportion, to get their objects to look just right. So if I take a measurement for the leg of the table, and then count how many are in the top surface, 1, 2, exactly 2. So now I know that the table is exactly twice as long as it is tall, right? So I can translate that to my drawing. So here's my tabletop here. And now I'll just take half of one of the longer lengths and make my leg that tall. So okay, and then I measured the proportion of the leg, the height of the leg, against the length of the shorter side, and they're exactly equal. So now I know, like, this side should equal this side. The leg should equal the short end. So that's another, way that I would use proportion in my pencil to measure the length of all the parts of the table. So hopefully that was understandable, and this has been an interesting adventure in videoing myself the way that I teach. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video.